Los Angeles, San Diego Superchargers heading to Pittsburgh for the Pittsburgh Steelers home opener. Sean, this is -1.5. It was 2.5 on the look at. So the Chargers are getting some love in a back-to-back road spot here. Of course, we remember they stayed back east. I did the research. They stayed, they stayed in a hotel, but they did, so no dorms, but they did work out and train at the Charlotte facility. So the relationship there with old Mr. Poggi was accurate, as someone, I think it was Colby, predicted. -120 for the Steelers, +102 for the Chargers. 35.5 is the total. So we've talked about 2 games, and we have 2 games with totals under 40. Sean, I do think that the Chargers road trip, I'm always a vibes guy. That's always a positive thing.
Oh yeah.
But Tomlin laying less than a field goal is basically Tomlin as a dog.
Yeah,
and Tomlin as a dog is undeniable.
Well, and
this is their home opener, as you mentioned. Sean.
Home opener. So if anything, the Steelers team is underrated, and a ton of money is coming in on the Chargers.
1 offensive touchdown.
and I think we're gonna find as we go along. Well, and obviously taking Bryce Young out of the mix changes things. But teams who played the Panthers the week before, their numbers are gonna look a little inflated. Although it didn't stop the Saints from running it up against the Cowboys there. There's a lot going on. One, I mean, Justin Herbert is banged up. He didn't practice today. Obviously we taped the shows on Wednesday night, youtube.com/sportsgaming podcast, but
I watched the 10-minute Harbaugh presser.
I think he's going to play, but I don't think he's going to be 100%. And I think having that mobility, some of those design runs, some of the RPO stuff they were doing, I think was helping their offense out. And the Chargers, how do they get this going? They establish it. They pound the rock. What are the Steelers good at doing? Stopping you from pounding the rock. You're going, like, everything the Chargers have done well these first couple games plays right into the hands of the Steelers team. Like, the Chargers are trying to get where the Steelers are, right? Like, the Steelers are a much better version of the Chargers, and they're at home, and this is a back-to-back road spot for the Chargers. Ryan, you came up with the same angle that I had, or stumbled upon, that Greg Roman, who is the OC for the Ravens, hasn't had a great time going up against Tomlin defenses.
A ton of data here. Before I get to that, I do want to just interject with some. I did watch a 10-minute Harbaugh presser. Couple things were interesting. He said he wasn't gonna, that it's Easton Stick is the starter right now.
Yes,
and that he's not going to get into the what ifs because they'll hit the legal limit. He also went on to say that playing a less mobile Herbert behind against this team, this Steelers team, is something he's thinking about because, of course. And then he goes on to just lather up Mike Tomlin and talk about how much the competition is drawn out of him when he goes against a team like Mike Tomlin.
I mean, how can you not? I feel like I was up and down with the Harbaugh relationship, but I love this version of Harbaugh. The amount of joy he's brought to Justin Decker, which makes it tough because I am on the Steelers here.
Yeah.
And fortunate for us, Decker is he's going on a trip. He's actually going to be in Anchorage, Alaska. So, and I know we have some listeners up there in Anchorage, Alaska. So I'm telling you, if you are doing an NFL Sunday at a bar and you hit up Justin Decker on Twitter, X at Justin Decker, invite him.
Yes,
we will pick up your bar tab to celebrate, to watch Justin Decker. There's got to be sports bars in Anchorage that have the red zone on. It's cold all the time up there. I mean, Anchorage is probably a great place to spend an NFL Sunday, just locked in at some like nice little bar,
it's football weather,
getting hammered. Maybe we take a vacation up to Anchorage. What I'm getting at is hook Decker up. We'll hook you guys up. We'll pick up the bar tab.
All right. So please hook up Decker. But here's what I would say about the Greg Roman angle you were making earlier. Greg Roman, offensive coordinator in the National Football League for a total of 10 years before this season. 4 with the Ravens, where he played against Tomlin 8 times. 2 years with the Bills, he played Tomlin once, and 4 years with Harbaugh. The first time with the Niners, where he played Tomlin once. In those 10 matchups versus everyone, and honestly, I'm going to I'll put my graphic on the screen. It's beautiful.
Ryan pulled it out.
Well, people,
this is awesome.
I started mocking the internet by posting silly graphs because people react to images. And so this is an all timer.
Can you explain this slightly, Ryan?
But basically you have, your X axis is the team in the year. So,
does our audience know the X axis?
They'll figure it out. Okay. And the Y axis, which is numbers, is points per game. And so basically the blue line is the points per game that the Greg Roman offense was experiencing that season. And the yellow line is how many points per game they scored against Tomlin. You can see that the yellow line is it's
a pretty big difference
below and so I have it by, I mean, we're talking about in 2011, they scored 20 in a year. They averaged 23.8 in 2016. And I'll keep this graph on the screen. In 2016 with Buffalo, they scored 20. They won the game, but they were averaging 24.9 that year. In 2019, they scored 26 and 28. That's pretty good, but they were averaging 33.2, Sean.
Yeah.
2020, 14 and 24. They were averaging 29.3. And even in the years where the offense started petering off, 22.8 points in 2021 and 20.6 points in 2022, they didn't sniff 20 points against Mr. Tomlin and the Steelers. So
I mean, it's crazy too. And you know,
the thesis being Greg Roman has had a lot of success in the NFL.
Yes.
With his offense, running the ball and controlling games, except for against Mike Tomlin.
Pittsburgh is just a slightly better version. And I'm sure the Chargers are thinking like, hey, down the line, maybe not this year, maybe next year, we can be a version of that Steelers team with a franchise quarterback, Justin Herbert, which I think would put them over the edge. But Herbert's not 100%. Joey Bosa, he's probably going to play. He's dealing with the back thing. And the Steelers are making their home debut. I think the place is going to be going bananas. And you just look at the Steelers. I mean, the spread is what? -1.5. Steelers are 33-11 straight up in 1-score games. Best mark in the NFL since 2020. 31-13 against the spread in those games where their average line being close to pick. So the Steelers win close games. Now, maybe they blow the Chargers out and then we get like an inflated number where we can't play the Steelers. But right now, you got to be locked in on Steelers football, right?
Last thing I'll say, Mike Tomlin on Greg Roman.
Oh yeah. I got a great Tomlin quote when you're done.
Quote, I have a lot of respect for Greg. ... He says some stuff. A lot of what I see on tape is very familiar. And he just, if you watch the clip, he has a look like, all right.
Tomlin's also awesome because when he drops a line that he knows is like going to go viral or something, he like pauses and like looks at the, it was great. Cause he goes, they were asking him about locker room chemistry or something. He goes, I can't give you all the ingredients to the hot dog. You might not like it.
That, I mean, that is,
and then he just like looks right at the reporter who and what a great metaphor. This team is a hot dog. And as long as Justin Field doesn't drop the hot dog and he continues his no turnover streak, we are going to be doing pretty good.
Tomlin saying, you know the level of shit I'm putting into this delicious ass meat.
Yeah, Justin Fields is like the what are the snout and entrails that get ground up.
Just whatever.
I mean, what is what is TJ Watt? Well, what part of a hot dog? He must like. What's the best part? The mustard, maybe.
He's like a piece of fillet that falls off the wrong table into the hot dog.
A piece of Wagyu that somehow ended up at 7-Eleven.
Some truffle oil or something that got snuck in there. Yeah. So how do you not take the Steelers?
Yeah, both on the Steelers. Okay.